Ladies and gentlemen, forget the shadows. It's time to face your enemies head on with this ultimate katana build for Naoe. This build makes you a literal flipping ninja on the battlefield, deal insane amounts of posture and vulnerability damage, delete any threat in just a matter of seconds. Always better, but now also more powerful than Yasuke. Let's get started. I've spent countless hours working on this build, so it would mean the world to me if you can spare 1 second of your time, hit that like button, and of course also share what you think about it in the comments down below. Maybe even have suggestions to make it better. All those are very welcome in the comments. But as you've seen in the intro, this makes Naoe a true samurai. You no longer have to play Yasuke to destroy enemies with head-on combat. Unlike my previous build, which focused on removal of health segments, this one simply makes enemies vulnerable, then eliminating them from the battleground with heavy posture attacks and sweet looking executes. Deflection, aggression and satisfaction. That's what this build is all about. So let's get straight down to business. The power from this build doesn't just come from legendaries. Even more important, these aren't the best items in the game. I have a full guide about it, which you can find in the top right of the screen, where I explain exactly which items you want to focus on to get the most out of your builds. But to make this a little bit easier to explain, let's start off with my Trinket, the unstoppable giant right here, which comes with a 100% armor piercing on critical hits. With this build, we have a very high crit chance, but the secondary engraving right here, a legendary, increases our damage per non-legendary equipment by 15%. So this item alone, that's 15% bonus, 30, 45. Imagine how hard this build will hit if we also replace these two legendaries. Then that's going to be plus 75% damage increment. I'd say this is the single most powerful engraving which you can use on trinkets. I use it on pretty much all my builds. Anyways, you can only unlock it after you've gotten your hands on the Ani's Fury, which can be found fairly early game in the Izumi Setsu region. You want to go to the southeastern part right here to the Kawachi Heights, as this is where you can find the Teratsusuki Den. Search for the legendary chest and voila, after you've picked it up, you will unlock the engraving. A 10% stats on equipped katana is going to work pretty good for this build, armor piercing with posture attacks as well, while this one on critical hits is the hands down best, as with this build we have over 50% crit chance. You'll know in a second what exactly to do for that. First though, let's check out our chest piece, the Revenge of the Onryo rope. Plus 50% damage on next hit after using abilities. We use our tidal wave ability quite often to charge into battle, which is already going to be super painful for your enemies. They're going to become vulnerable, simply lose their guard, which allows you to have a free charged attack or posture attack. And this is where second engraving comes in, plus 60% damage on next hit after using abilities, which complements our previous engraving, but you can tell that this combo right here already hits like a truck and is super simple to execute. And the funny thing is, these broken engravings aren't even legendary. I mean, why would you go for these, which are pretty much useless for these types of builds? You want to hover over the specific engraving and then you will know exactly where to go. Sold by a merchant in Kyoto, for example, sold by a merchant in Fukushima. For my headband, I'm still using a legendary, as I simply wasn't able to find an upgrade yet in epic quality, but this one is called the Legendary Onamusha headband. It comes with a vault over enemies while sprinting, which makes it super easy to make enemies vulnerable, as if we quickly have a look at vault right here, when deflecting attacks, you can jump over an enemy and make the target vulnerable. With this headband, we don't even have to deflect, we can simply jump over them, automatically make them vulnerable, and with a second upgrade, even increase our critical strike chance by 25% over 10 seconds after using Vault. So it is essential for this build you pick up this legendary engraving, which automatically unlocks when you find the headband, which is located in Yamato. Specifically, you want to search for the Koriyama Castle, take out all the Samurai Daisho, and open this chest as reward. Because there are many ways how you can make enemies vulnerable with this build, including the vaulting itself. It always makes them vulnerable. I also decided to add this secondary engraving, a plus 30% crit chance when hitting these enemies. Moving on to our horse. Seriously, guys, this one could also increase our damage by 15% if this also counts for the Unstoppable Giant. Anyways, let's check out our main weapon, the Steel Blossom. This is where things become very interesting, as the Legendary Engraving it comes with adds an instantly charged posture attacks after a vault. Vaulting is that jumping over enemies, which we automatically do with the Legendary Headband. If you don't have to charge posture attacks then, wow, these two engravings alone already allow you to stun lock and obliterate your enemies. You want to open your objectives and check out the Shinbakufu circle. This is where you can find Issei Sadaoki. That's the guy you want to take out to get the Steel Blossom as reward. The second engraving I added to it is another 30% crit chance when hitting these vulnerable enemies. And as already talked about in the beginning of this video, when you get a chance, replace the Legendary Katana with a much better epic for an insane stat boost. 1097 damage. If we look at this one, 1288 on a lower level. While you don't want to focus on things that come with daze buildup or poison buildup, as they aren't relevant for this build. The only reason why I'm not yet using a purple katana is because I simply can't use the instantly charged posture after a vault yet. It doesn't unlock when you find the Steel Blossom. Instead, you're gonna have to take out a specific target. Guys, if you know where it is, let us know in the comments down below. That would be awesome. But if we quickly have a look at the damage engravings, this is where you can find it. It's rumored to be held by a shadow organization. If we check out our objectives menu, this is what shadow organizations look like. Right here, we already completed one. It's still unknown, but if we hover over them, you can always see their rewards. Sometimes they come with an ability or engraving reward, as you can see right here. When I complete the Pirate Alliance, I unlock 2 more for both Yasuke and Naoe, but I still haven't found the shadow organization with that specific reward. Already a massive thanks for sharing it in the comments and literally make this build perfect. Anyways, that's it for the main weapon. Now, last but not least, we have our Tanto. I only have this specific purple equipped to boost our damage with the Trinket we talked about earlier. Also comes with more critical damage with melee weapons, so if this applies for our katana, that would be super interesting. And also a plus 24% damage when hitting vulnerable enemies. So we're basically adding passive stat boosts on this item to make our katana stronger. So for the mastery, if you've already reached a higher knowledge rank like me, have unlocked level 6, you will get these bonus upgrades. I haven't used any of them yet, so you don't have to worry about getting higher level for this. We're first going to talk about the essentials in the katana tree. First one, Tidal Wave, our main ability to dash into battle, make enemies vulnerable with already a nice amount of ability damage. You can chain it 2 times and increase its damage big time with this upgrade right here. You also want to pick up the counter attack. When you block at the last moment, you will turn a deflect into a counter attack, which hits like a truck as we're making enemies vulnerable while we're doing this. Upgrade it to increase the damage and also do it against unstoppable ones. So when enemy weapons turn red, you no longer have to worry about this. Still deal insane amounts of damage. Also pick up the dodge, launch fast counterattacks and quickly get back to the enemy. We already do that with the vault, which we talked about earlier, but dodge attacks generate more adrenaline chunks, which are actually amazing to constantly spam our abilities, increase the dodge attack damage as well. Then also make the target vulnerable with dodges. So see where this build is going. Always applying vulnerability to our enemies. Just make everything hit so much harder with pretty much guaranteed crits on them. I also love to use this guard breaker ability to unleash 9 strikes, all dealing ability damage and also breaking armor, which becomes fully effective on higher levels and can no longer be blocked. We also have some passives right here. Increase your melee weapon damage, as well as the consecutive hits damage. Don't go with the build-up. And you also want to pick up this specific talent in the Kusarigama tree to increase your critical damage by 12%. We also have something similar in Tanto. Increase armor piercing by 18%. Increase our damage from behind. We can increase this one to 12% right now with some new talents. And also increase your critical strike chance by 4. As you can see, I have nothing else unlocked. I simply reset all these masteries, which you can do for free with that button in the bottom left. Anyways, on tools, I did pick up a nice amount of them because I just really like to throw kunai, makes removing trash mobs easy mode, increase your tool damage, increase the amount of tools, adrenaline gain, very important, so we can just keep spamming our abilities, 2 more increased capacity. I think assassination is still essential for Naoe to easily get rid of most trash mobs or in general taking out high value targets. Hidden Blade upgraded all the way to the maximum. Also go for the large enemy takedowns, the double assassinate takedowns. I don't take the upgrade of Eagle Vision because I think the red is actually pretty annoying. But also pick up the Show Your Door assassination so you can assassinate enemies through these walls. Super satisfying. Pick up all the rest right here as well. Increased adrenaline chunks 2 times so you can have 3. And also increase your damage while HP is full by 12%. And increase damage against vulnerable enemies. Then also the Shinobi tree. We have more damage with abilities, more damage after vault. That's what happens when we use our headband. And also the efficiency to reduce our cooldown on abilities. Lightning Kick, definitely not essential for this build. I think the Heightened Senses can be even easier to slow down time, make parrying and countering abilities a whole lot easier, but I barely use them because, yeah, I just spam the other 2 abilities. Also use the Vault, as talked about earlier, to deflect attacks, jump over enemies and make them vulnerable. You don't need the final upgrade, as it throws a shuriken mid-air. I don't know, do you really want that? And last but not least, essential, the Egan roll. Hit roll right before hitting the ground to eliminate all fall damage with the Ninja Fall upgrades. So there you have it, everything you need to know about my new build. It took a lot of time to get my hands on these items or do the research in general. You would help out my channel a ton by just taking a second to hit that like button. And of course also share your thoughts about this build, because I'm super curious what you think of it. I've never seen someone else play with something like this. So yeah, there's that. Guys, a big thanks for watching. There's plenty more content on the channel. And of course, new guides in the making. A big thanks for watching. I'll check you guys in the next video or live stream. Take care. Peace.